When you really think about it, it's a strong task to become one of the hottest rappers in the world. You gotta keep evolving your sound as time goes, and you always gotta be consistent. But while it's hard to get to the top, it's also hard to stay at the top. Once you're labeled as a rapper that's not the same, or even in their fall off era, it's hard to escape that fucking bubble. There's been a few rappers who we thought were on their way to a comeback, but it's always just been temporary buzz for them. But when I think of a rapper that's come back from all criticism thrown their way, I can only think of two as of recent. One of them being Lil Yachty. Now Yachty is a person I believe reinvented his whole entire style. Because back then, when you thought of Lil Yachty, you thought of that legendary freshman class of 2016. He was supposed to be in those conversations with Uzi, 21, and Kodak, but for some reason, he just wasn't. Nobody was really talking about him like that because in a lot of people's eyes, he was just seen as another meme rapper. He just wasn't that guy that you wanted to listen to on a daily basis. I personally fucked with majority of Yachty's discography, but that just wasn't the case for most people. People started to feel like Yachty's career was just taking that huge dip, and he couldn't really escape from it. Because while all his peers were succeeding in their own lanes, he was just stuck in that same position he was always in. But then Yachty started to change the narrative around his name. He went and dropped a completely different album called Let's Start Here. He steered away from his original sound and went for a psychedelic type sound, and people were actually fucking with it. And I'd say this is probably his most popular album so far. But then he took it a step further by dropping singles like Strike, Slide, Tesla. Even Poland was going crazy for a little while, but he said that song he made was like a troll ass song, and you could really tell too. But now Yachty's in a way better position than he was a couple of years ago. He's put himself back in those conversations with his peers, and his 2023 run is something that should never be forgotten. And next we got Lil Tecca. Now Tecca was in a similar situation that Yachty was in, an artist that blew up at a young age just doing his thing. But Tecca has always been in his own lane. He's never a guy that you really hear about falling off. He's always been here, but that's really been the problem. He was always just stuck in one place. For me, Tecca is honestly just a hit or miss. I never really thought he made bad music, and I don't think anybody thinks that he makes bad music, but he's been in a position where you look at him and say, can he get better than this? Is this his peak that we're looking at right now? And he's made some great songs with other artists. I believe he's always held his own on features, but he never really took that next step with his music until 2023. 2023 Tecca was probably his best year by far. He dropped his album Tech that was perceived pretty good by a lot of people, and you can honestly say it was one of the best albums of the year, and he's been on a crazy streak since then. Not gonna lie, it's kind of funny how both of them had their best years in 2023. That shit is crazy. But there's probably way more artists that have had the same situation as these two. These are just the main two that I've really seen reinvent themselves in the rap game. But if you feel like there are any other rappers that went through the same thing, let me know in the comments. And let me know how y'all feel about Lil Tecca and Lil Yachty. And subscribe, nigga. It's free.